How you doing out there, all you back cave dwellers? Unknown bass player coming at you. In the prior video, I bent the binding maple strips for the redwood guitar. I'm going to take them off and see how they turned out. Okay, these have set about a day and a half now. I'm going to take them off and you'll be able to see how they turned out. There's all four of my strips. All dried out. They all look pretty decent. Now they'll go on, two on top and two on the bottom of this guitar. Now see if I can get an idea how they're going to go here. These two shorter ones will go on the top, and they're going to fit right in there like that. Then I'll bring it around here, cut them off. I think I can get set up and show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to put a piece of inlay at the end of the instrument. So I've done this. This is a little harder. I had to do it by hand. So I took these blocks of wood here, took double face tape, laid my piece of stock out, drew a line on each side of it, put these stocks in there, and I could run my chisel right against there. That double face tape held that right in place. Now you wouldn't want to put a lot of pressure on it actually because it gets held on with tape, but it's straight enough that I could put the chisel on there and get a good edge on it. Took a razor blade, scored it all the way down both sides. I actually had one on each side of it. You can see how good it holds. You hear it come off of there. Took and chiseled that out. Now the inlay will just slide right up in there like so. Now I actually put this one in two pieces because I won't have to drill through there, so I'll bring it up to cut it off there at that where the jack goes in, then come to this end, and I'll actually come around from this side. Now I'll put these in last. That way I can get these strips up here and make sure they're up snug. Make sure I push it up from the hole up, because there's a little leadway right here to cover if you leave it short. Up here there's not. So I'll put it in this way and then just cut it off right there in the hole. Fits pretty decent. I'm going to get set up and try to put the binding on. I'll show you how I personally do that. Okay, I'm going to try to show you a couple things I do when I put the binding on. If you can see, there's a little mark right there. Also, right there. So I'll line these marks up. Now I'm going to dry fit this by moving my hands around, keeping it tight, putting it where it's going to go. Then I'm going to come over to here in the next slot and mark it where I can cut it off. Won't cut it off exact, I'll just cut it off where I can get to it. And I'll just take this all the way around, same way, all the way to the tail block. Back here. And when I get it in the center of here, I'll put another mark on it. Right there. Now I'm going to take a coping saw and cut that off, and that'll be where this piece will end when it's glued on. And I'll start it to make sure I end it in the same place. I'll start it right here where I put the mark. So after everything's cut, I'll line the marks back up. I'll line my marks back up and start there and glue it down. Right, when I put the binding on, I'm going to use just regular masking tape to hold it down. Now I've got these laid out on this my top workbench, and what I do is I pull string down, but I've never found one layer to be strong enough. Maybe I pull too hard, I don't know. So I lay them all down. I've already done most of them. Then I could go back across and put another one right on top of it. That gives me 2 layers thick. And I like to have them done to make sure I have enough. I'd rather throw a little bit away than end up having to get the tape and cut some more pieces. So I'm hoping this will do the binding. And they're all double strength now. So I should be able to pull them a little tighter than normal. And that'll hold the binding in place. I'll get her set up. I'll be right back. All right, I'm ready to show you how I put this on, how I personally do it. I've got my tape hanging from my light, so I can just reach right up and grab it. I won't have to be hunting for it. It's right at my workbench, right above me. Have glue in the little container, the paintbrush. Now the binding's going to go on like this, so I'm going to put glue on the inside of that. I'm going to lay this block of wood down. And start putting the glue on the piece. Put it on kind of sparingly. I don't want it running all over the side of the instrument or on the top. Just more work to clean it up. I'll get so much of it done turning around. Now I also put a mark on the tail block to where I could start this. And what I'll do is I'll start it there, run around the edge of the instrument real quick and make sure the other mark lines up. If it does, I'll leave it there and good to go. I'll use the masking tape to hold this down. It's just regular masking tape you can buy any place. Okay, I got the glue on the piece. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is line up my mark back here. All right, and I'm going to grab a piece of my tape hanging right above me. Pull that down. Now I'll come over here and make sure this mark lines up, which it does perfectly. So I'll work around the instrument in a couple places. Putting the tape on it. pushing down and pulling back as I go to make sure it's all the way down against the body and sealed against the rest of it. I just keep doing that all the way around. See, now I just reach up, grab another piece of the tape. It don't have to be hanging above you. It can be taped to your workbench someplace, just hanging where you have easy access to it. You just want to make sure you get the binding down against the rosewood where you notched it. You want to make sure the binding's up to the top. It's pulled completely in tight where it'll make contact and seal. Another piece of the tape. And real quick, like I said, I cut that off. Now I'll go back in there, cut that off exactly where I need it to be. Tail piece the same way, it's right in the middle. And if I have to, I can take a little piece of sandpaper and sand all some of that off. But now what I'll do is I'll go back through and make sure everything's pulled up tight, put more tape on it. Spin the body around, do the tail piece. Come back up here. The most issues you might have is right in here to where it goes into that little bend. You gotta make sure you get it against the body and up here at the top where it goes around. All right, there's one side. Do the other side and show you what it looks like. All right, completed. All the strips are on, front, back. Now, when you go to take the tape off, if you find it's pulling the grain on the top, especially if you have like an Engelmann or a spruce Sitka top, the tape maybe start pulling the grain up. If it does, just take a hair dryer, go over it with the hair dryer a little bit, get that tape just a little warm. It'll soften up the glue, much easier to take off. Now after this is all dried, I'll let it set a day. I'll go back through and I'll clean this channel out with a little tool that I have. Make sure all the glue's out of it. Now my fellow luthier, you met him on a video, Steve, he's going to bring me some acetone. And I'm going to make my own glue with the acetone to glue in the mother of pearl behind this maple binding. I'll show you how I make that when I get the acetone. That'll be my next project. Well, that may not be true. I have to put the end pieces in. I didn't put them in yet. I'll wait till these dry, then cut and measure and make sure I get them fit properly and put them on. But she's coming along. Won't be long. That's what the monkey said when the train ran over his tail. Won't be long now. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Thank you.